It was the first day of school after summer break. Students were loud, laughing, and full of energy. But one girl walked in slowly, quietly. Her name was Eva. She was new. She didn't talk. She didn't smile. She just sat in the last row, near the window, looking outside. She wore a black hoodie and carried an old backpack. Her eyes looked tired, but strong. Nobody knew where she came from. Nobody asked. She didn't try to make friends. She didn't even look at anyone. Then came Jason, the loudest and most popular boy in school. He was always making jokes, always trying to be funny, and always making fun of others. He saw Ava and smiled in a bad way. "Hey, new girl," Jason shouted. "Why so quiet? Lost your tongue or lost your brain?" The whole class laughed. Ava didn't move. She didn't even blink. She just looked at him, straight in the eyes, for 5 seconds, then looked away. Jason didn't like that. "Too proud to talk, huh?" he said, walking toward her. "What's in your bag? A bomb? Or maybe a love letter for me?" More laughter. The teacher walked in. The class got silent, but Ava's silence didn't change. She kept looking out the window. That night, Ava sat alone in her small room. Her father was not home yet. She picked up an old mobile phone from her drawer. There was only one number saved. It had no name, just Dad. She called. There was no hello. She just whispered 2 words. They started. Then she ended the call. Far away, in a dark room filled with weapons and army gear, a man sat cleaning a sniper rifle. His face was hard. His hands were steady. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just stood up, picked up his gear, and walked out into the night. Next morning at school, things felt normal. Ava was again sitting alone, this time in the library. Jason walked in with his friends. He saw Ava reading a book and came closer. "Look at this. The Quiet Queen." He laughed. "Still scared to talk, or waiting for your daddy to save you?" His friend threw a paper plane at her. It hit her head. She didn't react. She just closed the book, stood up, and walked away. But before leaving, she said one thing. "Be careful. Sometimes quiet people have the loudest storms inside." Jason laughed louder. "Whoa, she speaks. What storm? You gonna cry?" But Ava was already gone. That night, Jason's car tire was flat. Then another. Then all 4. He laughed at first, thinking it was a joke. But on the windshield, there was a note. "Say sorry, before it's too late." No name, no handwriting, just typed letters. Jason threw the note and said, "Stupid prank." But someone was watching him. From far away, through a small red dot. Back in her room, Ava opened an old box. Inside were pictures. Her mom in an army uniform, medals, a map, and a letter. She looked at one picture. A man in full sniper gear, holding her when she was a baby. She whispered, "Dad, I don't want anyone hurt. Just scared, like I was." Her phone buzzed. A message appeared. "Understood. Phase 1 complete." The next day, Jason looked tired. He didn't joke. He didn't laugh. He kept looking around, nervous. In class, Ava walked past him. She dropped a small piece of paper on his desk. It said, "This is not bullying. This is war. And you already lost." Jason stood up, angry, but Ava had already left the room. Outside the school, a black car stopped. Tinted windows. No one got out. It waited, silent. Inside, a man with sharp eyes looked at the school building. He said to himself, "My daughter never cries twice for the same pain." He opened a box beside him. Inside was a sniper rifle, taken apart in pieces. The war had begun. Ava was quiet not because she was weak. She was quiet because she had seen things that most people could never imagine. Pain, war, loss. These were not stories for her, they were memories. She was just a child when her mother died. Her mother, Sergeant Michelle Brooks, was a brave soldier. She was kind, strong, and full of love. Ava remembered her warm hugs and the way she smiled, even in her uniform. But one day, her mother went on a mission and never came back. Ava waited at the door for hours. Her father, Darius Brooks, came home with red eyes and a shaking voice. "She's not coming back, baby," he said, holding her tight. From that moment, Ava stopped smiling. Darius was not like other fathers. He was a military sniper, one of the best. He had served in many secret missions. His hands were steady, his eyes sharp, and his heart heavy. After losing his wife, he didn't want to lose his daughter too. So he trained her, not like a soldier, but like someone who needed to survive. Ava learned how to stay calm under pressure, how to observe quietly, how to defend herself. She didn't learn games or cartoons. She learned maps, codes, body language, and silence. They moved many times, city to city, town to town. Darius didn't trust anyone. He said, "The world is not safe, Ava. You need to be stronger than your pain." But Ava missed having friends. She missed laughter. She missed being a child. Every time she tried to live a normal life, something reminded her of the war inside her. When they moved to this new city, Darius promised, "This will be our last move. Try to live a normal school life, baby." Ava nodded. She wanted to believe him. She wanted peace. She wanted to forget the past. She joined the school and tried to blend in. But the world doesn't always let quiet people live in peace. Back in school, Jason was still trying to understand what was happening. First, the strange note. Then his flat tires. Then that cold look in Ava's eyes. He was scared but too proud to show it. He told his friends, "It's just some army kid trying to act tough." But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. He started dreaming of red dots on his chest, waking up sweating, looking over his shoulder. One day, a teacher found something strange in the art room. It was Ava's sketchbook. Inside were drawings, not of flowers or cartoons, but of guns, battlefields, and military plans. One page showed a sniper rifle with the label X-98 Black Phantom. Another showed a rooftop with red lines pointing at students. The teacher was shocked. She called the principal. They called Ava to the office. Ava walked in, calm as always. The principal asked, "Are these your drawings?" She looked at them and simply said, "Yes." "Why would you draw such things?" The teacher asked, nervous. Ava looked at them and said, "Because this is what I know." "Are you planning something?" the principal asked, now worried. "No," Ava said, "but someone else might be." The adults looked at each other, confused, unsure. Ava stood up and said, "You don't have to be loud to be dangerous. Sometimes silence is the warning." She walked out, leaving them speechless. Meanwhile, far away, Darius was sitting in a dark room. He had files open. Jason's name, his school, his friends. Everything was written down. He had gathered all information in just 2 days. He spoke into a small recorder. "Target has bullied my daughter. Psychological damage detected. Operation. Psychological equalizer. Phase 2 ready." He clicked a button. A red dot blinked on the screen. Jason's house was marked. That evening, Jason received an email. No name, just a video. In the video, someone was watching his house. His front door. His mother doing dishes. His little brother playing with toys. All filmed secretly. Then a message appeared on the screen. "You scared her. Now feel her fear." Jason dropped the phone. His hands were shaking. His friends told him to relax. "It's just a prank, bro." But Jason knew it was real. That night, he slept with his light on, but still had nightmares. Ava sat by the window, watching the stars. She whispered to herself, "I don't want revenge. I want understanding. But if they can't understand silence, they'll understand fear. Her phone buzzed. A new message from her father. Target shows early signs of mental breakdown. Mission effective. Awaiting your orders. Ava didn't reply. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Let them learn the weight of a broken voice." Jason was changing. He wasn't the same loud, overconfident boy anymore. His jokes had stopped. He no longer walked around like he owned the school. His smile was gone. He didn't say it out loud, but deep inside, he was scared. He couldn't sleep well. He kept hearing whispers in his dreams. He kept thinking about Ava, her face, her eyes, the way she looked at him, not with hate, but with something worse. Silence. The video he received still haunted him. His family, his little brother. Someone had filmed them without being seen. Someone had sent that video to him with a message that still played in his head. You scared her. Now feel her fear. He wanted to tell someone, but who would believe him? Would he go to the police and say, "A quiet girl is making me scared"? They'd laugh at him. So he stayed silent. But silence was Ava's weapon. The next day at school, Jason found another note in his locker. It said, "You were warned. You chose to laugh. Now count your friends." Jason's heart dropped. He ran to find his best friend, Mikey, but Mikey wasn't in class. He wasn't in the cafeteria. He wasn't even answering his phone. Jason felt panic rising in his chest. He asked the teacher. No one had seen Mikey since yesterday. His mind raced. Is this a joke? Is someone messing with me? What's going on? That evening, Jason received another message. It was a video again. This time, it showed Mikey, blindfolded, tied to a chair in a dark room. The camera didn't show faces, just Mikey struggling, scared. Then a voice spoke in the video, calm, cold. This is not for pain. This is for balance. You took laughter from the quiet. We take peace from the loud. Jason dropped the phone. He ran to the bathroom and vomited. His hands were shaking. His world was falling apart. He stayed home the next day. But staying home didn't help. His doorbell rang at 2:00 a.m. When he looked outside, there was no one there. Just a single photo on the doorstep. It was a photo of him, taken from across the street. He was sleeping inside his room, through the window. The red dot of a sniper scope was on his chest. He screamed. His parents came running. He didn't tell them anything. How could he? Meanwhile, Ava was quiet as always. She sat in the classroom, listening to the teacher, drawing in her notebook. But this time, she wasn't drawing weapons. She was drawing a cage, and inside, a bird. The bird looked tired. Her drawing told her story. She felt trapped too. After class, one girl from school named Emma came to sit beside her. She whispered, "I know Jason bullied you. I'm sorry. I didn't laugh, but I also didn't stop him. I was scared." Ava looked at her and nodded, just a small nod. Emma asked, "What's going on?" Jason looked sick. "Mikey is missing. People are talking." Ava closed her notebook and whispered, "Sometimes people don't understand peace. So, peace must leave." Emma didn't know what to say. She got up slowly and walked away, confused and scared. Jason finally broke. That night, he sent a message to Ava. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please, just stop all this." He waited. No reply. 2 hours passed. Then a message appeared on his phone. Sorry means nothing when it comes after fear. Jason cried. For the first time in years, he felt helpless. The next morning, something even stranger happened. Police came to the school. They walked straight to the principal's office. Teachers were whispering. Students were looking through classroom windows. The news spread fast. Ava Brooks was being questioned. They found strange symbols in her notebook. Maps, a list of names, and next to each name, a red check mark. Jason's name was the last one, unchecked. The police asked her questions. Did you hurt anyone? Ava said nothing. Do you know where Mikey is? Ava looked at them and said softly, he's safe now. He's quiet now. That's what you all wanted from me too, right? The police were confused. They had no proof, no evidence. Ava stood up and said something before leaving the room. I never touched anyone. But some people touch pain, and pain always returns. That same night, a small video was uploaded from a hidden IP address. It showed Mikey, alive, safe, eating food in a room with a warm light. No chains, no pain. A robotic voice said, he is free when you understand. Return balance, and no one will suffer. Then the video cut off. Jason saw it, and finally he broke down. He called Ava. She picked up. All Jason could say was, what do you want from me? Ava replied calmly, I just want silence. The same silence you gave me in front of the whole school. Jason didn't sleep. Every sound in the house made him jump. Every shadow felt like a threat. His phone kept buzzing in his hands, even when no one messaged. His brain was heavy. His chest was tight. He had never known fear like this before. And the worst part, he was alone. His friends avoided him now. They were scared. They saw what happened to Mikey. They saw the change in Ava. And they didn't want to be next. Jason was now the quiet one. In school, whispers followed him. He looks pale. He's scared of the new girl. Didn't he bully her? She never touched him, but look what's happening. Ava, on the other hand, remained calm. She walked through the hallway slowly, her steps silent, her eyes unreadable. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She didn't speak unless necessary. But when she passed Jason in the hallway, she whispered one word. Balance. Jason stood frozen. That word echoed in his ears like thunder. Later that day, Ava went to the school counselor's office. The counselor, Mrs. Blake, was kind. She had been watching Ava for days, worried about her. Ava, I've seen your drawings. I've seen your file, she said gently. I know your mother died in war. I know your father is different. Ava looked at her with tired eyes. He's not different. He's prepared. Mrs. Blake leaned forward. And you? Are you prepared too? Ava nodded slowly. I was never allowed to be soft, not even as a child. The counselor sighed. And the bullying. I know it hurt you. Ava looked away. Hurt is easy. It comes free. Understanding. That's expensive. Mrs. Blake whispered, Are you hurting people back now, Ava? There was silence for a long time. Then Ava said, No, I am just removing noise. Meanwhile, Darius, Ava's father, was watching everything from afar. He had eyes everywhere, school cameras, street angles, social media. Nothing escaped his system. He recorded everything, but acted only when Ava gave a signal. He wasn't just a sniper. He was a father who lost his wife to violence and refused to lose his daughter to silence. Jason finally decided to do something he should have done long ago. He stood up in front of the entire class. Everyone was silent. No one expected him to speak. He said, I want to say something. About Ava. About myself. About bullying. He looked around. I stared back at him, waiting. I used to think being funny meant making fun of others. I used to think silence meant weakness. But I was wrong. He looked at Ava, sitting in the last row. She didn't fight back. She didn't scream. She just watched, and now I know why. Because people like her don't play the same games. They're playing for something bigger. A few students looked uncomfortable. Some nodded. Jason continued. I said things that hurt her. I laughed while she stayed silent. But her silence, it hit harder than any words. He took a deep breath. Ava, I'm sorry. Not just because I'm scared, but because I understand now. The classroom was quiet. Ava stood up slowly. She didn't walk away. She walked forward. And then, for the first time, she spoke to everyone. She said, "I didn't want revenge. I just wanted respect. You all laughed when he mocked me. You all watched. You all stayed quiet." She paused. But silence isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it's just pain, waiting. Her voice was soft but heavy. Everyone listened. "I come from war. My father didn't raise me with toys. He raised me with truths. And the truth is, if you push someone who's quiet for too long, they won't explode." She looked at Jason. "They erase you, piece by piece." After school, Ava sat alone on the rooftop. It was quiet, and she liked that. Her phone buzzed. A message from her father. "You did well. Mission entering final phase. Do you want to stop here?" She stared at the screen for a while, then replied, "No. One more lesson. One final truth. Not just for him. For all of them." That night, something strange happened. Every student in Ava's class got an email. It was a link. Just one. They clicked it. The video started. It showed a young Ava sitting in her mother's lap. Her mother was laughing, in uniform, holding Ava close. Then the next scene showed a flag on a coffin. And then, a young Ava crying. Alone. A voice spoke in the background. Ava's voice. "This is what silence looks like. Not weakness. Not mystery. Just pain that never left. You laughed at it. Now carry its weight." The screen went black. Students sat frozen in their homes. Some cried. Some felt ashamed. Some finally understood. Jason watched the video 3 times. He whispered, "She didn't break me. She opened my eyes." Jason couldn't sleep. Every little sound in the house made him jump. Every shadow felt dangerous. His phone would buzz, but when he checked, there was nothing. He kept remembering the video. His little brother, filmed through the window. His friend Mikey, blindfolded, scared in a chair. And Ava, silent, calm, watching. The once loud and proud Jason was now quiet. And for the first time in his life, he understood how heavy silence could be. In school, he looked different. His shoulders were low. His eyes didn't meet anyone else's. He didn't joke, didn't laugh, didn't even talk to his own friends. But the worst part, he was alone. His friends had backed away. Everyone had seen what happened. Nobody wanted to be next. They acted like Jason had a curse on him now. And Ava. She walked through the halls like nothing had changed. Same calm face, same steady steps, same cold silence. But this time, when she passed Jason, she looked at him and said just one word. Balance. Jason froze. That word hit him like a bullet. That day, Ava visited the school counselor. Mrs. Blake had seen her often sitting alone, quiet, strange drawings in her notebook. And now, all this drama in school. "Ava," she said softly, "I know you've had a hard life. I read your file. I'm so sorry about your mother." Ava didn't move. Her face was still. "I also know your father served in the military. I understand now why you're different." Ava spoke quietly. "He taught me to survive, not to cry." The counselor leaned in. "And what about Jason? What happened between you two?" Ava looked away. "People laughed when I was hurting, but now they listen, because silence speaks loud when it comes after pain." Mrs. Blake was silent for a moment. Then she asked, "Are you trying to hurt him back?" Ava replied, "No, I'm just letting him hear the sound of being ignored." Jason finally reached his breaking point. He stood up during class. Everyone turned to look at him. "I need to say something," he said. His voice shook. His eyes were red. "I want to apologize, not just to Ava, but to everyone who stayed quiet when they saw me make fun of her. I was wrong." Everyone was silent. Jason continued, I thought making people laugh made me strong. But real strength is being able to stay kind when the world laughs at you. Ava did that. I didn't. He looked at her. I'm sorry. And I mean it this time. Ava stood up. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just spoke calmly. You all saw him make fun of me. You all stayed quiet. And when I stayed quiet, you called me strange, weird, cold. She looked at each face in the room. I wasn't weak. I was tired. Tired of screaming in my heart and no one hearing it. She paused, then said, Silence isn't peace. Sometimes it's just pain, folded again and again, until it breaks something inside. That evening, Ava sat on the school rooftop, alone. The wind was soft. The sky was turning orange. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her father, Darius. You showed restraint. That was good. But you still have one more lesson to teach. Shall we begin the final phase? Ava stared at the message, then typed back, Yes. One last lesson. For everyone. That night, every student in Ava's class received an anonymous email. Inside was a link. They clicked it. A video started to play. It showed Ava as a child, sitting on her mother's lap. Her mother wore a military uniform, smiling. They were laughing together. It looked like peace. Then the screen went dark. It showed a flag being folded, a coffin, a little girl holding a folded American flag, crying. Then came Ava's voice. You made jokes about my silence. But silence was the only thing I had left. You didn't see my past. You didn't hear my pain. So I made you feel it. Now ask yourself, was it still funny? The screen went black. Jason watched the video. His heart broke. He whispered to himself, She didn't hurt me. She made me understand. And for the first time, he truly meant it. The school was silent the next day. No one laughed in the hallways. No one pushed or mocked. Even the loudest students stayed quiet. Something had changed after the video. Ava's video had done what no teacher, no parent, no punishment could do. It made them feel. It made them understand that silence hides pain, deep pain. Jason didn't sit with anyone during lunch. His friends were gone. Some were scared. Some were ashamed. Some just didn't know what to say. But Jason, he was changing. He wanted to make things right. He didn't want to live in fear anymore. He didn't want Ava to live in silence anymore either. That evening, Jason walked alone to the park near his house. He sat on the swing and looked at the sky. Then, footsteps. He turned around. It was Ava. She stood still, her hands in her jacket pockets, her eyes calm but sharp. Jason stood up, nervous. I didn't know you'd come. Ava said nothing. Jason took a deep breath. I meant what I said in class. I was cruel. I was wrong. I laughed while you were suffering. But you made me feel that same silence. And now, I understand. Still, Ava said nothing. Jason continued. Why did you choose me? Why not someone else? Ava finally spoke. Because you were the loudest, and when the loud fall silent, others listen. Jason nodded slowly. So is this the end? Ava looked at him. No, not yet. Not until you use your voice to fix what you broke. Jason was confused. What do you mean? Ava pulled out a small USB and handed it to him. This has a story. My story. Share it. Jason took it carefully. With who? Ava turned around and began walking away. With everyone who never saw me. Jason went home and plugged in the USB. There were pictures, videos, voice messages. Ava's life. Her mother in uniform. Her father in training. Her old school. Ava getting bullied before she moved. Drawings. Music. And one last video of Ava crying silently in her room. hugging her mother's old jacket. Jason watched it all, his heart heavy. She had lived in a war zone, and then came to another war, the school, where no one threw bombs, but everyone threw words. And she had no shield. The next day, Jason requested the principal for time in the assembly. The principal agreed. The whole school gathered. Jason stepped on stage. He cleared his throat and said, "Today, I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here to share someone's truth, someone who sat alone while we laughed, someone who showed us what pain looks like when no one listens." He connected the USB and played Ava's story. The room fell into silence. Some students cried. Teachers looked down. Even the security guard wiped his eyes. After the video, Jason looked at the crowd. Ava never shouted, never fought back, and we thought that meant she was weak. But she wasn't. She was surviving something we didn't even try to understand. He paused. Don't wait until it's too late to listen, because when silence turns cold, it doesn't ask for mercy. The students clapped, slowly, quietly, not because they were told to, but because something had changed in their hearts. Ava didn't come to school the next day. She didn't need to. Her message was already louder than any scream. But that night, Jason received a final message on his phone. It was a short video. Ava, standing in a field, wind blowing softly, wearing her mother's jacket. She looked at the camera and said, "Thank you for listening. I don't need revenge. I needed to be seen. And now I can finally speak, even in silence." Jason smiled softly. A tear ran down his cheek. He whispered, "She won," without firing a single bullet. But someone else was still watching. From far away, in a hidden place, Ava's father, Darius, watched the school's assembly video online. He leaned back, his sniper rifle still beside him. He smiled for the first time in years. "Lesson delivered," he whispered. Days passed. Ava did not return to school. Some students thought she left. Some thought she was hiding. But Jason knew better. She wasn't hiding. She was watching. Jason began to change. Truly change. He joined the art club, the one Ava used to sit in alone. He started helping students who got bullied. He even apologized to kids he had once laughed at. People noticed. Some called it guilt. Others called it maturity. But Jason didn't care what they called it. He only cared about one thing now, doing what was right. One afternoon, Jason received a plain white envelope in his locker. No name, no handwriting, just a USB inside. His hands shook. He rushed home and plugged it into his laptop. A video started. It was Ava's father, Darius, clean-shaven, sharp eyes, calm voice, a soldier's posture. He stared directly at the camera. "You don't know me, Jason, but I know you. I study your voice, your patterns, your choices. I know when you lie. I know when you hesitate. And I know when you finally begin to understand." Jason sat still, heart pounding. "I am not a monster. I am a father, one who lost a wife to war, and almost lost a daughter to your silence." Darius leaned forward. "What you saw from Ava was just a drop. What she survived was a storm." Then his tone changed. "I made Ava strong. I made her quiet. But now I ask you, Jason, can you protect silence like she did?" The video ended with one final line on the screen. "Test coming. Soon." Jason stared at the blank screen. What did it mean? What kind of test? Was this a warning? Or a challenge? The next morning, something strange happened at school. All the security cameras were off. The power blinked twice, then returned. Teachers were confused. The principal made calls. But only Jason seemed to understand. This was the test. At lunch, Jason saw something disturbing. Two senior boys, guys who had stayed silent during Ava's bullying, were now pushing a new student. A small, quiet girl with braids and a notebook full of drawings. Jason's heart raced. This was it. This was the test. Would he walk away like before? Would he stay silent? No. Jason stood up. He walked over and stood between them and the girl. "Back off," he said. The bullies laughed. "Or what?" Jason clenched his fists. His voice didn't shake this time. "Or I show you what silence taught me." The boys hesitated, then walked away, confused and annoyed. Jason turned to the girl, helped her up, picked up her drawings. "You okay?" She nodded. He smiled. "I used to laugh at people like you," he said quietly. "But someone showed me the truth. I'll never let it happen again." That night, Jason got another envelope. Inside was a photo. It was a picture of him standing with the girl in the hallway, taken from a high angle. A note was attached. "Test passed. Eyes off. Shadow closed." Jason didn't understand at first, but then he smiled. Darius was watching. But now, he didn't need to. In another city, Ava was sitting on a bench with her father. They watched kids playing in the park. Darius said, "He passed. The loud boy. He found his voice." Ava nodded. "He became what I hoped others would be, changed by truth, not fear." Darius looked at her. "And you?" Ava smiled softly. "I found peace, not through silence, but through being heard." They sat in silence. But this time, it was a warm silence. Not heavy, not painful, just peaceful. But then, Ava's phone buzzed. She opened the message. Her eyes froze. A new video. A new target. Someone from her old school. She looked at her father. "He's not the last," she whispered. Darius stood slowly. "Then let's finish what we started."